It all happened in just 15 minutes, a span of time so brief it could pass unnoticed in the course of an ordinary night. But on this night, every second was loaded with consequence, every tick of the clock echoing with a sense of impending dread. In the darkness, while most of the world slept, fate was quietly shifting the lives of those inside the house. A quarter of an hour that changed everything. The campus, usually alive with laughter and the hum of student life, was eerily silent. The sorority house, a place meant for friendship and safety, stood vulnerable under the cover of night. Outside, the world seemed peaceful, but inside, a nightmare was about to unfold. In that brief window, a predator moved through a house full of sleeping young women, armed with nothing more than a piece of firewood and a chilling lack of humanity. He crept silently, his footsteps muffled by the carpet, his presence undetected by those he stalked. The innocence of sleep left the residents defenseless, unaware that evil was moving among them. The date, January 15th, 1978. It was the start of a new semester, a time when hope and excitement should have filled the air. Instead, the events of that night would cast a long shadow over the campus, leaving scars that would never fully heal. Headlines the next morning would struggle to capture the horror of what had transpired. The place, Chi Omega Sorority House at Florida State University. A stately building, home to dozens of young women, each with dreams and plans for the future. Its walls had witnessed countless celebrations and late-night conversations, but nothing could have prepared them for the terror that would invade their sanctuary. That night, a sanctuary became a scene of terror. Bedrooms that once echoed with laughter and secrets were suddenly filled with fear and confusion. The sense of safety that the house provided was shattered in an instant, replaced by chaos and the desperate need to survive. The killer didn't bring a weapon. He found one, a log of oak firewood, turning a symbol of comfort into an instrument of horror. What was meant to warm the home became a tool of violence, a chilling reminder that danger can twist the most ordinary objects into something deadly. The attack shattered the illusion of safety, proving evil doesn't always announce its arrival. Locks and walls, meant to keep the world at bay, were no match for the determination of someone intent on causing harm. The aftermath left not just physical scars, but a lingering sense of vulnerability that would haunt the survivors. Sometimes it just walks right in through an unlocked door, forever changing the lives of everyone inside. In the end, it's not just the violence that leaves a mark, but the realization that safety can be an illusion, one that can vanish in the space of a single, unforgettable night. Who was this man? Ted Bundy. Handsome, intelligent, charismatic. At first glance, he seemed like the kind of person anyone would want to know. His smile was disarming, his manner polite, and his words always seemed carefully chosen. He could light up a room with his presence, drawing people in with an effortless charm that made him instantly likable. To the world, he was anything but a monster. Friends, colleagues, and even strangers saw him as a rising star, a man destined for success. He mingled easily at parties, made friends wherever he went, and left a trail of admirers in his wake. People trusted him, confided in him, and never suspected the darkness that lurked beneath the surface. He studied law, worked in politics, volunteered at a crisis hotline. Bundy was the kind of person who seemed to care about others, who wanted to make a difference. He was ambitious, driven, and always seemed to be working toward a brighter future. His intelligence and work ethic impressed those around him, and his willingness to help others only added to his appeal. He was the boy next door, the promising law student. Neighbors saw him as friendly and approachable, the kind of young man any parent would be proud to know. He blended in perfectly, never drawing suspicion, always fitting in. To those who knew him, he was just another face in the crowd, ordinary, trustworthy, and safe. But this was his mask. Beneath the surface, Bundy was hiding a chilling secret. His outward appearance was a carefully constructed facade, designed to conceal the true nature of the predator within. He wore his charm like armor, using it to deflect suspicion and lure in those who would become his victims. Bundy's charm let him get terrifyingly close to his victims. He knew exactly how to make people feel comfortable, how to earn their trust in a matter of minutes. Women found him attractive and approachable, never imagining the danger that lay behind his friendly smile. He used their trust as a weapon, turning kindness into vulnerability. Across the 1970s, young women vanished in his wake, often college students, often with long dark hair. The disappearances sent shockwaves through communities, leaving families desperate for answers. Fear spread across campuses, but Bundy remained invisible, blending in with the very people searching for the missing. The pattern was chilling, but the man behind it seemed impossible to suspect. Bundy was a chameleon, feigning injury to lure victims, exploiting their kindness. He would approach women with a cast or crutches, asking for help with his books, or to load something into his car. His ruse was simple, but devastatingly effective. Most people never imagined that helping a stranger could be so dangerous. He preyed on empathy, turning the best of human nature into a trap. By 1978, he was a fugitive, having escaped jail twice, and arrived in Florida anonymous and untethered. His ability to slip through the cracks of the justice system only added to his legend. He changed his appearance, adopted new identities, and continued his spree, always staying one step ahead of the law. The nation watched in horror as the manhunt intensified, but Bundy seemed unstoppable. What made him so terrifying was his duality, evil hiding behind a friendly face. He was both predator and neighbor, monster and friend. The contrast between his public persona and his private horrors was almost unimaginable, making him one of the most chilling figures in criminal history. With Bundy, the danger was already inside, smiling, asking for help, and who could say no? He was the wolf in sheep's clothing, a reminder that sometimes evil doesn't look like a monster at all. It looks like the person you trust, the friend you invite in, the stranger you're willing to help. And that's what made Ted Bundy so terrifying. Tallahassee, 1978, a quiet college town where students felt safe. The Florida State campus was alive with routine, the Chi Omega House a home to dozens of young women. As night fell, the house grew quiet, its residents asleep and unaware of the danger approaching. Doors were often left unlocked, a sign of trust and security. Into this peace, Bundy crept, a predator in his element, the campus's hunting ground. The silence was his cover, the trust his invitation. The nightmare was about to begin, and no one even knew it was there. How did he get in? That's the question that haunted the survivors and investigators for years. In the dead of night, when the world outside was silent, and the only sounds inside were the soft breaths of those asleep, a single, simple oversight changed everything. The answer is disturbingly simple, almost mundane. The front door was left unlocked, a small lapse in routine that would have devastating consequences. In a time before home security systems and smart locks, people trusted their neighborhoods, believing that evil was something that happened elsewhere. Bundy walked in, moving silently through the darkened house, up the stairs, carrying a heavy oak log. He didn't need to force his way inside or break a window. The world had already opened the door for him, unknowingly inviting a nightmare into their sanctuary. He was a shadow, navigating the halls with chilling confidence. Every step was calculated, every movement deliberate. He knew the house was his for the taking, and he moved with the certainty of someone who had done this before. His method was swift and savage, attacking sleeping women with brutal force. There was no warning, no time to react. The victims were caught in the most vulnerable state imaginable, their dreams shattered in an instant by violence they could never have anticipated. He didn't target individuals. Anyone in his path became a victim. It didn't matter who they were or what they had done that day. In those moments, fate was random and merciless, and survival was a matter of chance. In less time than it takes to play a few songs, it was over. The violence was as brief as it was shocking, leaving behind a silence that felt heavier than any scream. The world outside remained oblivious, the night undisturbed, except for the horror within those walls. Bundy slipped out the same way he entered, leaving behind carnage and silence. The unlocked door, once a symbol of trust and safety, now stood as a grim reminder of vulnerability. He vanished into the darkness, as if he had never been there at all. The house would never be the same. Its walls, once filled with laughter and life, now echoed with the memory of terror. For those who survived, and for the families left behind, the simple act of locking a door would never again be taken for granted. The horror of the Chi Omega attacks was the ultimate violation, being attacked while you sleep. Margaret Bowman and Lisa Levy were killed in their beds. Kathy Kleiner and Karen Chandler survived, beaten but alive. Their survival was a matter of chance, the attack a blur of pain and confusion. Nita Neary, returning home, saw a man fleeing and discovered the chaos inside. Her screams alerted the house and campus to the nightmare. The violence was so extreme, so impersonal, it left everyone reeling. The night was shattered, and nothing would ever feel safe again. As dawn broke, police and ambulances surrounded the Chi Omega house. Investigators faced a scene of chaos, no forced entry, no clear suspect. Nita Neary's description of a man with a club was their first lead. That same night, Bundy attacked another student, Cheryl Thomas, leaving behind a pantyhose mask. The crucial evidence, a bite mark on Lisa Levy, preserved for forensic analysis. The manhunt began, Bundy still a nameless, faceless monster. For days, he remained at large, a ghost in the community. The race was on to catch him before he struck again. News of the murders spread, and fear gripped Tallahassee. Students locked doors, the campus emptied at night, and trust was replaced by anxiety. The university imposed curfews, increased patrols, and fortified dorms. Survivors faced a long road to recovery, their lives forever changed. The Chi Omega house became a crime scene, their memories evidence. The attacks dominated headlines, making everyone feel vulnerable. The question haunted the community: when would he be caught, and who would be next? Bundy's capture weeks later brought relief, but the scars remained. The Chi Omega murders forced a nationwide rethinking of campus safety. Universities overhauled security, better locks, lighting, and emergency systems became standard. The trial was a media sensation, Bundy representing himself in a surreal spectacle. The bite mark evidence sealed his fate, a landmark for forensic science. The tragedy's legacy is dual profound loss, but also change and resilience. The courage of survivors and memory of victims fueled a movement for safer campuses. Their story is a somber chapter, a lesson we can never afford to forget. Decades later, the shadow of Bundy's crimes still lingers. The Chi Omega murders are a cautionary tale, a betrayal of trust in a place meant to be safe. Bundy exploited the openness of college life, turning it into a weapon. The story marked a turning point, shattering the myth that monsters are easy to spot. The Chi Omega house stands as a monument to loss, survival, and the lessons learned. Remembering this story honors the victims and ensures the lessons are never forgotten.